I'm going to introduce the folks on the first panel. If you want to find out more from them, I urge you to consult the links that will give you extensive biographical information about them. We're going to begin. Our first presenter is Shanin Specter, a named partner of the firm of Kline and Specter, PC. He will discuss the art and artifice of day-in-the-life films. His talk should provide some pointers for helping you to assist your clients to produce video diaries about their lives, perhaps. Marty Brigham, a partner with Raynes McCarty, has been involved with the work of the documentaries and the law program at Penn since before we quite knew that we were embarking on a program. I can always call on Marty to help me out. He will be discussing settlement documentaries, and you will see why their use should not be limited to personal injury actions. And finally, Edward L. Edelstein, the founding partner of Margolis Edelstein and a graduate of Penn Law class of 1955, is coming to us today in his incarnation as a mediator and arbitrator with ADR Options. Tom Rutter could not come and sent a marvelous pinch hitter. And he will be giving us the perspective of the audience, the learned audience, as it were. So first, Shanin.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Austin. The last time I was in this room, I was sitting for the Pennsylvania bar exam back in 1984. So this is a much happier occasion. Of course, this is a very different room than it was when I was here, when it was Spartan, to say the most. It's also a pleasure for me to see my former professors, Austin and Frankel, here today. And I marvel at the fact that the 23 years have passed since I was in these halls with them, and as you can tell, I have aged, but they have not. So for all of you who are considering your futures, you may want to consider a career in the teaching of law as opposed to the practice of law, because it seems to be much more agreeable. My classmate Ed Rock, who's been both a professor and also a practitioner, has sort of the combination of aging, but aging gracefully. That's my opening speech. Now here's my closing speech. I also want to make a plug for my course. The real reason I'm here is to plug advocacy at the Penn Law School. I believe that the great talent of the 21st century, that talent that, for those of you who are wondering how you're going to make a living when you get out of here and pay your debts, if you're willing and able to try a case or to be an advocate, you will never be hungry. And if you want to consider the skills of advocacy as being a big part of your law school education, I think you should consider focusing on the wonderful courses here at the law school that help you with that discipline, this discipline of trial advocacy and things related to that. I teach a course which is an intro course in trial advocacy for second and third year law students in the spring semester. So I'm here also to plug my course. Now, to the topic at hand. On February 2nd, 2004, Erika Pratt was a 19-year-old sophomore at the University of Pittsburgh. She was in her math class at about noon on that day. She suddenly sustained a cardiac arrest. Her heart stopped. It was noted by all of her classmates. They called the campus police. The campus police came. The campus police responded inadequately. And while Erika survived her cardiac arrest, she was left in a devastated condition, severely brain injured. In September of 2007, I, along with my colleague, the Kline inspector, went to try Erika's case in the Court of Common Pleas of Allegheny County. And the case was tried for 4 days, and it was settled before Erika's mother, Diane Pratt, could take the witness stand. She was to be the next witness. And one of the things she was going to talk about was her daughter's condition. The jury already knew quite a bit about Erika's condition because they had seen some photos of Erika. They had heard medical experts talk about Erika's condition. But they hadn't seen a film of Erika, and they hadn't met Erika. So I'm going to show you the film that they were going to see had the case not been settled on that morning. And for those of you interested in the forensics of this process, you must lay a foundation for the introduction of the film. And it's really fairly simple. So let us imagine, if we would, that we were in the trial of the case, and I've already introduced Diane Pratt to the jury by asking her about her name and her educational background and her work experience and her family background and with whom she lives and the background of her daughter, both educationally and socially and health-wise, so that we've kind of reached the point in the examination of the mother, Diane Pratt, when it's time for us to consider what Erika's gone through and to do so with the aid of a video. So I would say to Diane, if we can give Diane the microphone, thank you very much, sir. And so I would say to Diane, Diane, has there been a film produced that demonstrates a typical day in the life of your daughter?
Yes, there has.
And if you pulled your microphone a little bit closer.
Yes, there has.
And when about was that film made?
The spring of 2005.
And does Erika's current condition differ in some regards from what we'll see on that film?
Somewhat.
And can you point out to us those differences as we go along?
Yes.
Yes. And so then I would say, Your Honor, with your permission, at this time we would play that film. I've laid the foundation by demonstrating that it represents a typical day in the life of Erika Pratt. So we could start that film, please. Yeah. Now, one of the things you'll learn about this process is that when you have a film like this, you can say fewer words. So Diane, why does Erika have that red thing in her hand, and what is that?
Her left hand is contracted, so we would keep the tube in it so there wouldn't be a lot of condensation and wetness to cause breakdown in her hand.
And could you speak up a little bit?
I'm sorry.
And I see you're changing her socks. What were the red socks for? What are these white socks for?
The red socks were just to keep her feet warm. The white socks, she wears a mafo over top of the white socks, so the mafo doesn't cause any type of irritation whatsoever on the skin.
So the idea is to have the sock go all the way up her leg so that there's no contact between the
mafo and
the skin.
Correct.
And the mafo was what exactly, Diane?
It is to keep her foot in a position so when she stands, her ankles give her support. The hard plastic.
It's a brace.
Correct. Correct.
Now, I see that there's quite a bit of pink in this room. Is that right?
That is correct.
Why all the pink?
Erika loves pink. very warm in color.
And while she's severely injured, can she also, can she still see well?
Yes, she
Any
can.
problems with vision?
In the beginning, she was corneal blindness. Right now, her vision is what it was before the incident.
And I see you're wearing pink.
Very warming.
Is that for her or for you?
It keeps her happy.
Now, about what time does she get dressed in the morning?
This was probably about 8:30, 8:30.
Does she have any use at all of her lower extremities? I mean, I see you putting her socks on and putting on her lower garments. Any use at all of her lower extremities?
No, not really.
Can she move her legs voluntarily?
Yes.
What are we seeing now?
Right now, we're doing a Lovenox injection, which is to prevent blood clots. We do it on opposite sides each day.
And you're the person that makes the injection?
Correct.
And does she mind getting an injection from her mom?
It's quick. I don't think that she minds it too much. She's used to it by now.
And I saw a tube that was near her tummy when you were putting in the injection. What was that tube?
That's a peg tube that she was on tube feed at that time for supplemental feeding because she wasn't eating enough, and also to administer medications through.
She wasn't getting enough food through her mouth,
Correct.
so she had a tube in her tummy
Correct.
to give her nutrition.
Correct.
And does she still have that tube?
No, that came out December.
So has she progressed with respect to her ability to take food orally?
Yes. She just doesn't take enough.
Now I see you lifting Erika. Can she get herself out of the bed at all?
No, she cannot. That's called a stand pivot transfer, where she can push down through her legs, but she can't do it herself.
Okay, you call it a stand
Pivot transfer.
Were you aware of any of these terms before your daughter was
Definitely not.
I see you kind of lift your daughter out of the bed.
Yes.
Does that hurt your back?
It's starting to. It didn't until this point. It's about 4 years into it almost.
Do you have any concerns about whether you'll be able to continue with these functions yourself?
Yes, lots of them.
Now, Erika's skin tone looks good, doesn't it?
Yes.
Do you have any concerns about her skin tone? Let
In
me ask you a little different question. Do you have any concerns about breakdown of her skin?
very, very highly on the priority list.
What do you do to prevent breakdown of her skin?
If there's any type of irritation whatsoever, you have to deal with it immediately. It's very, very prioritized highly.
Now, I see you talking with Erika. Does she appear to understand you when you speak to her?
Yes.
And I see her responding. Tell us about the quality of her ability to communicate to you verbally.
That's very well. She definitely has a lot of her personality back where she can. I understand her a lot more than, a lay person would understand it, but her speech has been affected.
Now, is she able to eat a sandwich on her own like that?
She has to have somebody there with her. She likes the independence of holding food that she definitely can eat. Like peas aren't a real good thing for her to eat.
Why?
She can't get them on the spoon.
This is Bob.
Yes, that's my husband.
Now that ramp that we see, is that out in front of your house?
That's behind our house. That's off out of her bedroom. Goes a little deck and then down a ramp to an existing deck.
And was this here before Erika was injured?
No, it was not.
And who built the ramp? Who built the deck?
Volunteers that came and did modifications to our home.
Who's coming over today to visit?
It looks like her girlfriend, Diane.
Tell us about whether Erika's friends are still coming around like they used to.
In the beginning, there's a lot. and now it's the select few. They're on, getting full-time jobs and moving on with their lives.
How does Erika feel about that?
Very sad.
How about you?
It's hard. Very hard.
When's the last time this girl was at the house?
Probably a month ago.
Does Erika express herself about her friends, and what does she say?
She wishes she had a full-time job, she could work, she wishes she could go back to school.
Now, whereabouts are we going now?
We're going to Emotion Physical Therapy. This is a PT program.
And whereabouts is this?
This is in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. And that's Brock Harper, he's our therapist.
Is he the fellow that we saw on the video a couple days ago in the courtroom,
Yes,
where we piped him in live from Downingtown, Pennsylvania?
correct.
Count 3. I want you to count to 3, and then we're gonna activate together.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I want you to focus on the legs.
Okay.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Good. Right forward. Good. Back. I want you to lean on the walker a little bit. Good. There you go. Good.
Now, there seems to be a huge arch in Erika's back.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Keep this.
And has that arch been addressed surgically since then?
October 5th, 2005, she had a spinal fusion and rodding put in.
And did that work?
Yes.
Okay, so does she still have that same arch in her back?
No, she does not.
The exercise that we see her doing with Mr. Harper, the physical therapist, what is the purpose of that as far as you know?
A lot of motor planning, for her to be able to count and get up and then to put weight through her legs. Brock feels that that is huge, to put weight through her legs.
18, and that's it.
And then she's counting.
2, 1.
Why is she counting?
Come on.
I think he told her she has to stay there for 30 seconds.
Oh, really? Come on, straighten up.
So the last
Okay,
30.
down slowly. Reach back for the chair with your right arm. Reach back with the chair with your right
How
arm.
hard does she work?
Very, very hard.
Right arm.
Every day.
Does she,
Not just for the camera.
does she get frustrated?
Reach back. By the arm rest.
Yes, I would say yes.
You can go.
Has she discussed giving up?
Good. And down slowly.
Getting up?
Giving up? Has she discussed
No.
giving up with
No.
All right, come back. You okay? What are you feeling? Okay. No, relax. Good job.
That was great.
Very good. All right, rest for a little bit. We're gonna do it again with the walker one more time, and then we're gonna just do one and bow out. We're gonna do a bunch.
Can Erika control her own wheelchair?
No.
This van that we're looking at, where is this van from?
Van mobility?
Who paid for this?
We did.
Out of your own pocket?
Correct. If Erika was taking it to work or school, they would have helped with it, but
And what is this we're looking at right now?
that is her roll-in shower with a tilt shower chair.
Ready, Fred?
What is Bob's job every day?
Bob's a truck driver.
And how much time is he spending around the house doing these kinds of things?
Not a whole lot. He works about 65 hours a week.
And how's his back doing?
Not good.
Where is he today?
He's with Erika today.
Because you're here?
Correct.
Now, does Erika usually have that device in her hand?
She's had surgery since then. She has had her left wrist fused. So no, she does not have that in there. Which her hand is a little bit more open, which Eric can get into it now.
Where are we now?
We're in our dining room. This is the exercise that we were doing which we thought at the time was to bring her back down because her back was so severe. We would actually lay her over the dining room table and just hang her there. But it didn't work. It helped her feel more comfortable, but it didn't prevent surgery. And the hole in the mat there is cut out for her peg tube.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
The peg tube being the tube in her tummy.
Yes, it's very hard for her to lay on her stomach with the peg tube in there.
How many days a week would you do this exercise?
5.
22, huh?
And for how
In
long?
there?
We would try 20 minutes, but it was as long as she could tolerate.
Oh, you're off. Oh, you're off. It is.
And I would always clean her back because that would also skin breakdown because the skin would stay together and moisture would get in there.
If it was 6 o'clock, I'd be 17. We're going to do at least that. Okay? You ready? Bring them first. Tell me when. Okay, okay. Relax. Relax. Wrong. 2, 3. Let's bring it back up.
Okay, Mom. Just gonna do it. It's red.
Do it again some.
Yes. Good.
Good?
Is Erika still making gains, Diane?
Yes.
What kinds of gains is she still making?
I think that just being stretched out every day. Actually, her therapist at In Motion is walking her, where she's actually bending her leg and putting it forward. Her left hand, the more you work the left hand, the more she can use it. She just definitely needs continued therapy.
It's followed.
What's in the box?
Gatorade.
Now, can she hold her own juice box?
Okay.
She can, but it squeezes all out, so that's why we have that red plastic thing that it sets in.
Okay.
Fine. Chew that.
I see that Erika has attractive nails, if I may say.
Thank you.
Is that a focus of yours or hers?
Erika loves her nails done.
How about her hair?
Oh, that is what.
Loves her hair done.
Well, the what?
How often does she get her nails done?
Every 2 weeks.
How about her hair?
Every 4 weeks.
Does your boyfriend come over to see her?
About once a month.
The whole thing actually in your mouth.
And what kind of effort does she make to get ready for that?
It has to be perfect when he comes, which is hard.
Have you heard from Josh lately?
Yes, actually last night he's coming Saturday.
What does Erika think about the future of that relationship?
We had to talk to her about that and tell her to stop asking because I'm not sure what direction it is, or it is what it is. It's very hard.
And we heard from Josh in the courtroom a couple
Correct.
days before.
Correct. He's an exceptional person.
Now, what is she eating?
I believe it's a vitamin C pill.
How many pills does she take a day?
Probably about 14.
And are you able to keep track of all those pills?
I'm a pharmacist also. I put them in little cups and I number 8, 12, 4, 9.
You ever make any mistakes?
Yes.
Do you worry about that?
Yes.
What's that machine on the right-hand side of the screen?
That is her tube feed machine.
Does she get feeding at night while she's asleep?
Correct. We would run it from 7P to 7A.
Yeah. Have you had any concerns about the integrity of that PEG site, that it not become infected, that it remain open? What are your concerns in that regard?
That's why I would clean it constantly, because it did ooze and it would get all red and irritated around it. So I would change that pad and put that bacitracin on constantly.
And this is the nighttime routine,
Correct.
so we're almost done with the film, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is that routine today, Diane?
She doesn't have tube feed anymore, which is a huge hurdle. Nighttime she has to watch Action News, so we're up till 11.
Does Erika love her mom?
I hope so,
Does your mom love Erika?
very much.
Okay, I'll just make a couple of comments and I'll sit down. One is that I talk more than I would ordinarily with a film like this because this film carries itself, but I really kind of wanted to bring you into it and kind of show you some things that you otherwise wouldn't have known, but if you've been sitting there for the whole trial, you would have known a bunch of things that I would have just left out, number one. Number two, almost all my questions were proper questions under the rules of evidence. Some of them weren't, probably, but as a matter of advocacy, not too many by the way, but as a matter of, and none are really what I would call cheating, all right? But just technically in terms of the rules of evidence, there were a couple that might have been not quite admissible, but as a practical matter, when you're showing a film like this and examining a witness, your opponent is not going to object to almost anything that occurs, because to object is to get involved in something that the jury's not going to like. You know, they don't want to have this film interrupted by a bunch of lawyers talk. So as long as I, as the advocate, don't stray too far from what I'm supposed to do, I'm not going to get involved in any sort of concerns about interruptions and the like. I guess the other thing I'd say, and then I will sit down, is that, you know, a film like that is so fantastic. I mean, it's impossible to communicate to a jury in a way that's equal to that, what somebody like Erika Pratt is going through. And I'm not going to be able to take them to her house. It wouldn't work to take them to her house. Individual still photos aren't enough. So a film like that is just really good. Yes.
You said that the case settled prior to showing that film?
Yes.
Did the defendants see the film, and was that what precipitated the settlement? And who were the defendants?
The defendant was the University of Pittsburgh. They'd seen the film. They told me many times. It was not the film that caused the case to settle, because if it had been that, it would have settled a long time before. It was what happened in the trial of the case.
We're going to have a Q&A after all the
Thank you very much.
panelists have spoken. So, and you'll be asked to come to the microphone, just wear presence.